My sister's bridal shower invite read, "No gifts under $2,500. Respect the bride." I showed up with a framed childhood photo and a $100 card. My mom held it up and said, "Some people just show up to be cheap." I smiled, took out my phone, and canceled the $240,000 transfer for their honeymoon house. 20 minutes later, her fiancé was on his knees, begging. The bridal shower invite said, "No gifts under $2,500. Respect the bride." That was the first line. Not hello, not a greeting. That. Bold print. Dead center. I read it 3 times before I let myself believe it. Megan had always been dramatic, but this was another level. She was my younger sister, and yeah, I was the one with money, but I never treated it like leverage. I paid off her college loans, bought her first car, and even covered her rent when she was figuring things out, after graduation. No strings. I didn't keep score. But what I didn't say was that I kept receipts. Not the kind you throw in a drawer, the kind that show you exactly who someone is when they think you'll never say no. So yeah, I'd already planned something for her wedding. A lot, actually. I had a 3-week luxury honeymoon lined up for them in Greece. Everything first class. Flights, private villa, yacht day, the works. Plus $20,000 in spending money. And the big one. I scheduled a wire transfer of $240,000 to help with their new house. She and her fiancé Tyler knew. They nodded and acted like it was the least I could do. Megan barely said thank you. I still went through with it. Or I planned to. Then came that invite. No gifts under $2,500. Respect the bride. And it wasn't just her. My mom co-signed the whole thing. "She's right," she told me on the phone. "It's a high-end event. She deserves high-end gifts." That's when something switched. I realized they didn't just expect me to be generous. They thought I owed them. Not just Megan. My mother too. They were so used to me giving they stopped pretending it was a gift. So I changed the plan. I showed up to the bridal shower in a plain dress with no makeup, no flash. I handed my mom a small white envelope and a wrapped frame. I knew she'd open it, she can't resist drama. Sure enough, she peeked inside, saw the gift card, and said loudly, "Some people just show up to be cheap." The room got quiet. I didn't flinch. When Megan opened the frame and saw the photo, a Halloween picture of us as kids, one of her favorites, she actually rolled her eyes. Then she opened the envelope. Saw the $100 card. Laughed like I was joking. "This is it," she said. "Are you serious? $100? Aren't you embarrassed?" I looked her dead in the eye and said, "Fine. I'm canceling your honeymoon." She blinked like she didn't hear me right. Then she smirked. "Yeah, okay." I was already pulling out my phone. I canceled the wire transfer. I canceled the villa. The flights. Everything. Within 2 minutes, $240,000 of plans were gone. 20 minutes later, Tyler found me in the parking lot. He was pale, sweating, begging me to reconsider. Tyler caught up to me right as I was unlocking my car. He looked like someone had just told him his company got raided by the FBI. Sweat down his neck, no jacket, voice shaking. He started with, "Please don't do this." I didn't respond. I was already in the car, door still open. "I didn't know she wrote that on the invite," he said. "I swear. I didn't know about the gift tiers either. That was her and your mom." I finally looked at him. "You thought she was going to handle it respectfully?" He didn't answer. Just looked down at the asphalt. Then he said something I didn't expect. "She's always like this." I thought she'd grow out of it. Apparently he'd been biting his tongue for months. He admitted Megan treated people like accessories, especially when it came to money. He told me she expected her bridesmaids to pay for their own designer gowns, not rentals, full-on $3,000 dresses, and threatened to kick 2 of them out when they hesitated. He said she told him not to invite his cousin because he looked poor. And now the honeymoon, the one thing he was actually excited about, was off because she couldn't keep her ego in check over a photo and a $100 card. "She told me you'd obviously go all out," he said, like it was a sure thing. Not a gift, an obligation. I told him the honeymoon wasn't the real issue. I could have swallowed that if it was just entitlement. But the moment my own mother held up that envelope and shamed me publicly like I was some stranger who wandered in off the street, that's when I knew this wasn't about Megan being bratty. This was the way they saw me. A wallet that shows up to family events. That's it. Tyler leaned on the car and asked quietly, Is there any way you'd still help? That's when I realized something else. He wasn't begging for Megan. He was begging for himself. He wanted out, just not yet. Not without a plan. I asked, "You really still want to marry her?" He took too long to answer. "It's complicated." I started the engine. "No, it's not." He stepped back as I closed the door. I drove off without saying anything else. The next day I started getting texts from relatives, cousins, aunts, even Megan's best friend Kira. All asking what happened and is it true you pulled the honeymoon? Word had spread fast. Megan didn't hold back either. She posted a long, furious Instagram story calling me a bitter, jealous sister who couldn't handle being upstaged. Then she DM'd me. "You ruined my shower. Congrats. Don't come to the wedding." I didn't reply, but I took screenshots of everything. Then I got a text from Tyler. "We need to talk." I didn't answer Tyler right away. I needed to cool off. He wasn't the enemy, but I wasn't about to get dragged into whatever mess Megan was spinning behind the scenes. But 3 hours later he sent another message. "This isn't about the money. Can we meet somewhere private?" He didn't ask me to come to their place. He didn't offer to call. He wanted to meet. That told me enough. We met at a coffee shop halfway between my apartment and his office. He showed up in the same wrinkled dress shirt from the shower, circles under his eyes. Didn't even order anything. Just sat down and said, "I'm thinking of leaving her." I stared at him. "Before the wedding?" He nodded. Not dramatic, just tired. Like the idea had been sitting with him a while and the only thing stopping him was momentum. "I thought she'd change once we got engaged," he said. "Then I thought she'd change once we started planning. Then I figured she was just stressed. But every week it got worse. She talks to her bridesmaids like interns. She told our planner that the wedding needs to be rich enough to go viral." He rubbed his face. "And now she's spinning this story that you sabotaged her day out of jealousy? I've heard her say some twisted things, but this." He shook his head. This was different. This was calculated. I asked him why he hadn't walked already. He admitted he was scared. Said Megan could be vindictive when someone embarrassed her. That she'd ruin his reputation, twist the story, make him look unstable or broke. She had connections. She'd done it to an old friend from college who cut her off. She spread rumors for months, all because the girl refused to help her land a job at her agency. Then he pulled out his phone and showed me something I didn't expect. A prenup. Drafted a month ago. By him. She refused to sign it, he said. Called it disrespectful. Said she wasn't marrying someone who didn't trust her. I looked through it. It was basic. Fair even. He wasn't rich, he had a good job but nothing major. And the document mostly just protected him in case of divorce. No gold-digging clause. No crazy penalties. I asked him if he wanted help. He nodded. Fully. So I said, "Don't marry her. I'll handle what comes next." He looked relieved and terrified. That same night, I sent out a polite but short email to the extended family saying I would no longer be attending the wedding due to ongoing behavior that made my presence unwelcome. No drama. No shots fired. And then I waited. Because Megan doesn't take silence well. 2 days later she showed up at my place. No warning. No text. Just her pounding on the door like I stole her crown. I didn't open the door right away. I watched her through the peephole for a full minute while she stood there in a tight white workout set, sunglasses on despite it being cloudy, arms crossed like she was the one deciding if I should be let in. She pounded again. When I finally opened it, she pushed past me without saying a word and walked straight into my living room. "Why are you trying to ruin my life?" she said. "No hello, no small talk. You embarrassed me in front of everyone, pulled your gift, turned Tyler against me, and now you're playing victim like I'm the bad guy?" I stayed by the door. "You posted that I was jealous of you." She didn't even flinch. "Because you are." Actually laughed. He kept going. "You hate that for once it's not about you. That I'm the one getting the attention. The dress. The wedding. That people are watching me." I said, "You demanded gifts like a dictator and trashed me for showing up with a photo we both loved." She waved her hand like that was irrelevant. "It's not about the photo. It's about what it represents. You don't get to humiliate me because you have money. You're not better than me." I let her keep talking. I wanted to hear just how far she'd go. Then she said something I didn't expect. "You think Tyler's innocent?" You think he didn't use you too? He told me months ago that you'd probably pay for everything if we just let you feel important. I wasn't the only one planning that honeymoon. That stopped me cold. I stared at her trying to see if she was lying, but she looked smug. Too smug. Look, she said suddenly sweet. We both said things, but you still have time to fix it. Just reinstate the honeymoon. Send the money. We'll make a speech at the wedding thanking you. You look amazing. People will forget this ever happened. He actually smiled. Like this was a negotiation. I said, you're not getting the honeymoon. You're not getting the money. And after this, you're lucky if anyone shows up to that wedding at all. She dropped the fake smile instantly. You're a bitter, washed-up control freak. No one likes you. Mom only pretends because you pay her bills. I walked to the door and opened it. You can leave now. She stood there staring at me like she was waiting for me to change my mind. When she realized I wasn't going to, she walked out without another word. But the real storm didn't hit until the next day. Tyler called off the wedding, and Megan completely lost it. I didn't hear it from Megan. I didn't hear it from my mother either. It was Kira, Megan's maid of honor, who told me. She texted me at 9:12 a.m. on a Tuesday. Tyler called it. Wedding's off. Everyone's freaking out. Then, your sister is completely unhinged. You might want to go off-grid. I didn't respond right away. I just sat with it. It wasn't like I was hoping the wedding would be called off. I wasn't out for revenge. But after everything she'd done, the invites, the entitlement, the humiliation, I wasn't sorry either. Apparently, Tyler had called Megan first thing that morning and told her straight. He was done. Not maybe we need to talk, or let's postpone. Done. The venue, the planner, the caterers, all cancelled within hours. She went ballistic. She screamed, threw his things down the hallway, ripped up the printed invites. Tyler's cousin was there to pick up a suit jacket and told Kira he watched her stab a wedding centerpiece with a steak knife while yelling about traitors. I found all that out later. But even without the details, I knew the storm was coming. Because within an hour, my phone lit up with back-to-back texts from Megan. First, you are the most selfish person I've ever met. Then, you ruined my life and you love that, don't you? Followed by, don't pretend you didn't plan this. You're disgusting. Enjoy being alone with your money. And finally, the weirdest one of all. You think he's on your side? You think you won? He'll leave you too. He's not special. None of them are. I didn't answer. I didn't block her either. I wanted a record of everything. I already had a folder saved with screenshots. This wasn't drama anymore. This was her burning her own life to the ground and looking for someone else to blame. A few hours later, I got a text from Tyler. He didn't want to rant. He just wanted to say thank you. For being honest. For not playing along. For drawing a line when no one else would. He said something that stuck with me. I thought she was just dramatic. Turns out she's dangerous when she doesn't get what she wants. Then he added, I've never felt this clear. It sucks. But it's the right thing. My phone didn't stop buzzing for the rest of the day. Some of the bridesmaids started backing out of group chats, and 2 of them posted vague but telling quotes on Instagram about escaping toxicity before it spreads. Megan tried to post her version of events, a story with white text on a black screen about fake family and jealous women who hate to see others happy. She didn't name me directly. He didn't have to. People knew, and they weren't buying it. By nightfall, she'd lost more than just a fiancé. Her planner dropped her. 2 friends unfollowed her. The hairstylist she'd booked posted screenshots of her yelling about not wanting to look average, and canceled the contract publicly. Even her apartment building got involved. Tyler had called the landlord and said he didn't feel safe going back. When she tried to block him from collecting his things, they sent building security. He packed a bag, grabbed the prenup, and walked out. My mom called me that night. I let it go to voicemail. When I finally listened to it, her message was cold and clipped. He said, I hope you're proud of yourself. You broke your sister. You destroyed this family. No mention of what Megan said to me. No acknowledgement of the way I was treated. Just blame. It was always easier for her to hold me responsible. I was the one with money. The one who could afford to be the bigger person. But I wasn't going to do it anymore. Not this time. Not when it cost me my self-respect. By the end of the week, Megan had stopped posting. I think someone finally convinced her the meltdown wasn't helping. The wedding website disappeared. Her Instagram went quiet. The comments on her last photo were brutal. Some supportive, most not. People saw through the mess. And then 3 days after everything fell apart, Tyler showed up at my place. No text. No warning. He knocked like he wasn't sure I'd open the door. When I did, he was holding a plain envelope and a coffee cup. He handed me the envelope. Said, "It's not much. But I wanted you to read this." Then he turned to leave. I called after him. "Wait, do you want to come in?" He paused. Smiled. "Just a little." Then he nodded. Tyler sat on the edge of the couch like he didn't know if he was allowed to relax. I offered him coffee. He said no. He looked around like he wasn't sure if coming here was a mistake. The envelope sat between us on the table, unopened. I said, "So what's in it?" He said, "It's not dramatic or anything. It's just everything I couldn't say at the time." I opened it. 1 page, handwritten. Not long, not emotional. Just real. It said, "Anna, I owe you more than one apology, but this is the one that matters most. I should have seen your sister for who she was long before you had to show me. You tried to give us something incredible and I stood by while she acted like it was her right. That's on me. I convinced myself it was temporary, stress, wedding pressure, whatever. Truth is, it was just who she is when she's not getting her way. And you're the only one who didn't play along. When she told me what you gave at the shower, I knew exactly what was coming. She was pacing, ranting, talking about how you'd regret embarrassing her. She said she'd make sure people saw you as bitter. I think that was the moment it all clicked. You weren't the problem. You were the proof that I was marrying one. So thank you. Not just for the canceled honeymoon or the money, but for not letting it keep going. I know you're probably done with both of us and I understand, but I wanted you to know the truth before she rewrites all of it. Tyler. When I looked up, he was staring out the window like he didn't want to know what I thought. I asked him, "Are you okay?" He said, "Yeah, just broke. Not financially, I mean like, emptied out." I said, "That's how you know you're about to rebuild the right way." He nodded, then asked, "Is it weird if I say you're the only person who's been honest with me this whole year?" I said, "No, as I was. And I will be." We didn't talk much after that. He stayed for about 20 minutes, then left quietly. No big goodbye. No future promises. Just a clean end to a messy chapter. A few weeks passed. Megan moved out of their place. Last I heard, she was staying with a friend in Miami and trying to rebrand. My mom still hasn't called. I'm not waiting. I didn't post about it. I didn't clear my name publicly. I didn't need to. Because I didn't need people to see Megan for what she was. I just needed to stop pretending she wasn't. I'm not angry anymore. Just done. And sometimes that's enough.